Hello, good morning. How are you? Welcome. I'm just trying to get my sticky notes to stick a little bit better. And I am saying hello to you all. So welcome to day one of Heal the Feminine, the Masterclass. I'm so excited. This is, I think, the third time I've offered this training, and some of you have been in each and every one. So that makes me so happy to know that it is in some way working for you and helping you, and we're co-creating. So whoever is here watching the live, if you wouldn't mind just saying hello, or if you're watching the playback, type hello into the chat or hashtag replay to let me know that you're in on this collective co-creation. This is the feminine way. There's a lot of distortions around masculine and feminine and the healthy relationship to both. And so part of what this workshop is, and this masterclass is going over and fully feeling, like getting out of the information and into the transformation into the body of feeling into your feminine, feeling into your healing journey, and feeling into your masculine. So if we think about the masculine and feminine as in terms of elementals, which is a lot of what I do with astrology, which is there are masculine signs, masculine structures, and there are feminine signs, feminine structures, and everyone has everything. We are not just one or the other. There are some people who are predominantly leading from one of these or the other. And it's really about us integrating our masculine and feminine in the quantity and quality that works for us. And so one way I like to envision this, or think about this, or feel into this, is the yin yang symbol. It's not half and half, like this is my masculine side, this is my feminine side. It is this flowy river, and maybe this is a more feminine way of looking at it, of you have both the masculine and feminine, and they fuse together and they form together, and they're in this beautiful dance together within yourself. And this is really what divine union is all about. And hi, if you're just joining, you can type your first name in the chat or just say hello. Comments are sometimes slow to pick up. But we're talking about the feminine and masculine, just kind of going into some basics as we're diving into this training, to understand that what we're really looking at is our own inner divine union. And that's going to look very different for different people. And this is why bringing in the astrology for me is such a big piece to this. And in the Feminine Leadership Program, where we go into each of the archetypes and astrological placements, it starts to come alive within you. It starts to be activated within your physical body of this radical self-acceptance, this radical self-love. And this is really what this work of mine is all about, right? And so I'll do just a very brief introduction, and I'll talk about what we're going to be going into each day. Each day builds upon itself. And so this is a 3-day training, and we are going into healing the feminine. The first day, we are working with judgment and how our judgment keeps us from what we truly want. And I'm going to show self-judgment and inner judgments. Tomorrow, we are going into, I think it's, I should know this. Let me see. I have it right here. So tomorrow we go into, your desires and your divine potential. And then the third day is becoming your own beloved. So this really is the goal, is about self-acceptance and love, and how our brains are designed to criticize, to compare. And this is very much the feminine brain, a pecking order, like the chickens, have a pecking order and kind of like comparing yourself to other chickens. But the reality is the higher principle of the feminine is about co-creation. It's about getting out of that comparison and moving into a collaboration, moving into co-creation. And that energy is so much more powerful. And it is the thing that I feel like that is held away from us the most. I find something really ironic in which there is this movement within the feminine or within society right now where there is like a demonization of the masculine and the kind of a bashing of the masculine without the full breadth and understanding of the feminine, and without the inner work of the feminine, and without the feminine raising the bar of what is acceptable, what is something that we want to participate in. And it is very easy to point fingers within any kind of system or within any kind of collaborative thing. And that is the lower aspect of the feminine, is to blame. And so when we're doing this work and we're going in and we're saying, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, if we want to see change, if we want to see the feminine shine, we have to be willing to go in and look at where we are bashing our own masculine, where we're bashing our own feminine, where we're judging ourselves, where we are criticizing ourselves, because ultimately that is the work. And once that is resolved and worked with and came into consciousness, then you're less likely to look out at the external world and blame and judge and criticize. Doesn't mean it doesn't still happen. It just means it's easier to recognize that you're doing it and therefore kind of stop that pattern, do that pattern interruption. So I didn't introduce myself, but I'm going to do that really quickly because I don't want to spend a lot of time going into that. But my name is Abigail Barella. For any of you that have never been in a training with me before, or have met me, or we've worked together in any type of way, I wanted to just kind of introduce my work and why I'm so focused on healing the feminine within our society. So as I just said about the irony of like blaming one without doing the inner work, this is, I feel like, the biggest work that we are here to do. And we're at a time collectively where it's not working anymore to shove things down or push things down into the shadow, because the feminine is wanting to be seen and wanting to be acknowledged. I have a background in psychology. I studied Jungian psychology, and I'm a very big student of Maslow. And so a lot of what I have to work with is based on the self-actualization, the hierarchy of needs, and really motivating and helping others get into their divine purpose and their divine play so that they can shine brighter. And this is what Sparkle and Shine Guidance is all about, which is my business. And I really find that when I was studying Jungian philosophy, that so much, Jung talks about the subconscious brain is the feminine, and I just, so much of the learning that I did during that time was being pushed against in kind of like I don't know what to call it, like the new age, even like the coaching industry, a lot of talk about masculine and feminine polarity. I hear women talking about getting into their feminine by sitting and meditating and turning off their thinking brain. And I'm like, that is a masculine. So the masculine is the quiet. The masculine is the conscious mind telling everything else to quiet. That is the masculine. The feminine, based on Jungian philosophy, the feminine is actively animating and enlivening the subconscious brain through visualizations, through intuition, through the body, through feeling. That is the feminine. So if we think about the subconscious mind as what's below the surface, and where all of our fears, what roots judgment have, goes into the subconscious mind. And that is heavily based on past life experience, the first 7 years experience, and anything that we've shoved down into the kind of like, I'm not going to actively think about that, or that was too hard, any trauma, any dreams or visions, all of that is in the subconscious brain, and that is the feminine. And then if you think about kind of that energy is also the body. So the body keeps score, if you've ever heard of that book. All of these somatic principles that the body remembers, the body holds on to things. So even though the conscious mind has shoved it down into the subconscious, and this is like the masculine shoving down the feminine, like that's too hard to feel that, so I'm not going to feel that. That all gets shoved down into living in the body. So this is where illnesses or sicknesses or aches and pains can live without us consciously having a connection to the energetics, the emotion that is bound up, that is held there. And many of us know this is kind of what's coming online more, but what's missing within those connection pieces is that it's actually through activating and enlivening and animating the feminine and letting her emote, letting her feel, letting her be without judgment, without fear, without armoring, without all of the things that keep you from feeling. When you let her feel, emote, animate, move things through, they clear from the body. And it's through bringing that feminine to the masculine, bringing that feminine up, that we can integrate and heal. And it is through the masculine that we often find that we have armored, that we've closed down, that we want to serve. So many people become healers or become coaches or become something that is going to help heal the world. So they get into their service, which is masculine. It's a masculine principle, to go out and share and put out something beautiful. This is like a penetrative thing, right? This is the masculine penetrative quality. And the feminine, the positive pole for the feminine is the heart. And the negative pole for the feminine is the yoni. And the opposite is true for the masculine. So the masculine, the negative pole is the heart, which is why it's so easy to just give love to the masculine. Just give more. And that's not how this is supposed to work. There is a giving and receiving. And what we find is that many women and men, when they feel like they want to put out more healing into the world, they want to serve. This is a masculine quality. I want to serve. I want to help others. I want to make it so that no one knows this feeling like I'm going to help others. That's a problematic behavior for someone who has a lot of feminine. And even if it's not a lot of feminine, anyone that has feminine, which is all beings, is that the feminine highest quality is receiving and receptivity. And if we use the masculine, our own inner masculine, to push feelings down, to not feel certain things, to armor ourselves, to block it off, and then we're trying to serve, that's very problematic, because we are serving from an empty cup. We are literally getting into servitude, and that is not a place where any of us are supposed to live. So how do we come back to ourselves? How do we shift this? Because you might have heard some of this before, right? It sounds familiar, like, oh yeah, okay, don't, what is that called? From an empty cup. Don't serve from an empty cup. Oh, I've heard that before. Like, even being a mom, like, oh, I've heard that before. But like, how do we shift from going, giving, just serving more, and I hear different people talk about this, and it's so painful. It's like, service, just get into your service, get into this. It's like, yes, that is a piece. It's got to be balanced with receptivity. So if you're someone who gives a lot and is wondering, like, when is it going to come back around to me? Like, when do I get to receive? Maybe if I just keep giving more, I'll receive at some point. And it's like, no, that's the time where you need to stop and look at in your life where you have resistance, where you have blockages to receiving, and where you're still resisting surrender and surrendering to the receptivity. What is at the root of it? And oftentimes what is at the root of it, as a very young age, not feeling safe in your feminine, having to armor your feminine, your masculine coming online to armor your feminine and protect and guard your feminine so that you can survive. This is very common. This happens with little boys. This happens with little girls. It doesn't matter their gender. And ultimately, in order to get back into the receptivity and the surrender to receive, you have to look at that entry point and go back to that feeling. And there's typically a lot of them. It's not just a one and done type thing. This is a practice to go back in and understand where your masculine felt that it needed to protect your feminine in order to survive. Where it wasn't safe for you to fully shine in your feminine. Where even your inner dialogue had to do with feminine being a weakness or feminine being something that was not safe to be in. So this balance, this rebalance really has to start with the conscious masculine de-armoring of your masculine so that it can allow the feminine to feel. So it can allow the feminine to emote, and it can trust. You need the trust, right? The self-trust that the feminine will feel and emote and allow and receive the guidance to move the masculine forward. So it's through the receptivity to guidance and the intuition, this here, that the feminine is actually guiding the masculine into action. And this is within each and every one of us. I'm not talking about men and women. I think that's a really surfacey way to talk about these feminine and masculine principles. The idea of, I'm very much focused on the universal laws, and we have both genders within us. And it's really about finding your own divine union within those so that you can be successful, that you can share your big dreams and you can manifest miracles in your life, and you can receive the goodness that is all around you, that if you are in survival and if you are in overactive service, you'll not even be aware of the beauty that's all around you, right? When you're in overdrive and you're just overachieving and you're just trying to meet these goals and you're just trying to make this certain amount of money. And when you get there, you'll enjoy. You say like, oh, when I get there, then I'll enjoy. And it's like the opposite is true. And so when we allow for that de-armoring of the masculine, we allow for that juicy feminine flow and that feeling, all of a sudden, there's more awareness and space within not only the subconscious mind, but the conscious mind. Because what's happening below the surface, as above, so below, what's happening below the surface occupies and takes up space and kind of fogs that ability of the conscious mind to move you forward. And this is like a computer, like how things, corrupted files can take up space in your computer when you have a virus, when you have something going on with it. And when you clear that, when you get in there and clear that, then that is the time where your computer functions quicker, right? And so this is the same within the union, the healing work of this masculine and feminine. So it is very much like the lower level feminine brain that is comparing, contrasting. I talked about this, drawing conclusions. Like if this worked this time, it should work this time, right? Or if I failed that time, I'm definitely going to fail again this time. These kind of things are very much the lower level feminine brain. And it's really important to understand that judgments are the thing that are going to keep you from really manifesting big miracles in your life. And to understand that the judgments, I always say, judgment is fear cloaked as morality. And this is why there are so many like individual fears that people have. But then from doing this work for close to a decade, what I've come to realize is that collectively we share different programs, fears, and scripting around what is safe to express, what is safe to emote, being too much, fearing being too much, fearing being not enough. All of these things are very feminine things that are on a collective level, the collective consciousness. So yes, it's important to do the inner work, because where those take root for you, like I believe that I'm too much or I'm not enough, is rooted in these little things that happened in your upbringing, in your life, that made you believe that had you take that on. And so there's a unique process that I walk people through to get in there and kind of bump that belief out and replace it with a healthier root system, right? And we can find the truth in the healthy way and reactivating the healthy neural pathways that are fresh and new. So looking at the healthier aspect of the feminine is it's very relational, it's very expressive and emotive, and it's very important to understand this quality of the feminine. And this is kind of what we go into in feminine leadership. If you're interested, and maybe tomorrow I'll talk about it more. On the 26th of August, I'll be leading, there's 6 spaces available for women to go through this process with me. But one of the best things about that program is you start to see first of all, you see other women in there and their charts and what I'm saying to them. And then you start to have an awareness of self and compassion for self. These things are just the way it is. And this radical self-acceptance that comes in, and this self-celebration comes in, that we can honor each other and go to each other for different qualities that maybe we don't have as much of that quality within ourselves. And this is the collaborative nature of the feminine. There is not a hierarchy. There is not like one queen bee, and I think that that's the fear in the feminine leadership, is that somehow, even though we like the idea of it, we don't really fully understand what it means to have feminine leadership qualities. And we don't really know how that looks different than masculine leadership. So when I talk about feminine leadership, which I'll do more tomorrow, it kind of blows people away, like what that actually feels like, what it feels like to lead each other and to not only be self-led, but to surrender and open to other women leading and leading different ways and showing different things without needing to judge them or needing to judge the self. It's like different people bringing in different qualities, right? And so that is feminine leadership, and there's so much more that I'll share tomorrow. But today we're talking about judgments, and I really want to come back to that because it's really important to understand that if you're wanting to align to this healthy divine union that's available to you, we have to go in and deactivate a lot of the judgments. And the workbook that I have for these 3 days is fantastic for guiding you through this unique process. But one of the things that I wanted to share, and I definitely, can do this more effectively in a one-on-one container, which is something that is very powerful to do with me. So I have also on day 3, I'll be talking about an amazing year-long membership with me where you get 4 deep dives into this work throughout the year, 4 courses with me, and 4 Voxer chats for the quarter to go through kind of what's coming up for you, what you're integrating, what came up in any of the courses, all of that good stuff. And so I will share more about that. But this work that we do individually obviously takes on a whole new life when we're in a one-on-one container together. But I wanted to share a little bit more about the judgment and how these judgments, when you actually get to a new place in your life, and you've probably had this experience. So one big example that I always use is becoming a mother. So for any of you that have become a mother, what you typically notice is what I've noticed teaching women, hundreds of women about childbirth and parenting, is that one of the first activities that we would do is we'd go in and we'd look at where you have judgments around other mothers, especially your own mother, but other mothers. And then what is really interesting is that first reunion class where we'd come back together after the mama had had her baby, is that she would be confronted and have to integrate whatever her judgment was of her own mother, of other mothers. Typically, she's doing the thing that she judged the most And this is really important to look at. It's not about, you know, it is a little bit humorous that this is our experience as humans, right? But it's that thing where we are meant to learn and grow. And the only way that we learn and grow is by confronting our fears. And one of the ways that we confront our fears, because again, fears are just, no, judgment is just fear cloaked as morality. So like, this is right or this is wrong. And when we are confronted with our own judgments, we see underneath it is some fear. If we are judging someone, so in this case of judging other mothers for using, like, I remember I judged moms for using a pacifier. I was like, why do you need a pacifier? Like, I don't even understand it. And I would judge them for putting something artificial in their kids' mouths, right? And so when I'm judging that, it's really important to kind of go in and understand, what is the fear? Like, what's the fear there? And for that example, it might be something really simple. And at the same time, when we're talking about life goals, life mission, if we're judging someone for having the thing that we want, it's really vital that we go in and we look at what our fear is of having the thing. Because ultimately, our judgments are just fear. And when we can go in and we can deactivate the fear, we don't need to hold on to the judgment anymore. We can start to have compassion and understanding and awareness for others. And ultimately, this idea of morality, that there is a right and a wrong way to do something, that people are wrong for doing it a certain way, or this is the right way, like that's what needs to be alchemized within the self, because there is no right or wrong. There is no black or white. There is no this or that. It's all back to the yin yang. It's all just flow. It's all just connected, right? And it's all just different flavors of different ways of doing things. So this judgment piece is so big, and I was just going to share a really quick little visualization for you to get into understanding your judgments more. So if you just want to find a piece of paper and a pen, and you might just want to have that, you can, if you're watching the replay, you can pause this and get that, and then put it by you so that when you're done with the visualization, you can journal a little bit about what came up. Okay, so if you just want to close your eyes, come into your body, take a few deep breaths, breathe all the way down to your belly. Imagine that your legs and your hips and your feet are connected to Mama Earth. And Mama Earth is just bringing in this fresh, new grounding energy for you, up through your legs, into your low belly. Up above your head, you can imagine a beautiful ray of golden sun coming through the crown of the head, rinsing and enlivening and bringing fresh life into your body, bringing this lightness and this joy energy, circulating that with the earth energy throughout your whole body. This stability and this joy energy is rushing through you. So I want you to imagine in your mind's eye that you are meeting a goal that you have. So you are meeting a big manifestation that you have. So you want something, either you want a certain type of relationship or a certain goal met or a certain amount of money in your bank account. Just imagine that you have the thing. You have the thing, feel it in your body, feel the expansion, feel the big energy of this relief. I did it. I have the thing. And now allow yourself to see this part of you, this version of you in front of you, kind of in your mind's eye, kind of like I imagine like a movie reel going. Like you see this part of you. This is the part of you that pushed forward and integrated and became the match for the thing. And see what colors kind of are emanating from her, what energy she's in. Notice if she's holding a lot of tension in her body, if she's relaxed, how she's behaving, how she's moving. Is she flowy? Is she more restrictive? What is her quality? What is like her energy like? And now I want you to ask her, what judgments or fears did you have to integrate to get to where you are now? What people did you have to get out of your head? What scripts or programs did you have to clear? And she might start showing you things, or she might just start telling you things, or you just might instinctively start to think of things. All of this is good. I want you to allow her to express to you what she needed to alchemize in order to be the woman that she is today. And then allow her to kind of emit or mirror to you this energy so that you can take in some of it to your body. Whatever feels safe enough for you to receive from her, let yourself receive it from her. It might just be more relaxation in your body. It might be a more kind of better posture. It might be a way of thinking. It might be a way of moving. It might be a way of feeling. Allow yourself to receive from her. And when you are ready, you can blink your eyes open and you can just journal really quickly about what came up for you. What judgments did you have to alchemize to be the woman that you wanted to be? What fears did you have to confront? What energies did you have to transmute? What people were living in your head that you didn't know were there, that you were stopping from being the way that you are because of what you thought people thought of you? What are the things that you're ready to shift out of so that you can take up space and shine brighter? Notice as you visualize this aspect of you, this woman within you, what energy did she express? What way did she emote her body? What was she really shining in and taking up space in without apology? So now just take some time and space to journal on this. And if you are watching the playback or you're just watching a part of the playback, you can go back to the beginning and you can do this whole module. Tomorrow, I will be back on at 10 a.m. I'm so excited to share with you more of this beautiful energy that has shifted and changed my whole world. And I'm so excited to be in this space with you. So take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow.